The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development says a total of 130 countries have agreed a global tax reform, ensuring that multinationals pay their fair share wherever they operate. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, that's the OECD, says in a statement that global companies, including U.S. behemoths, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple, will be taxed at a rate of at least 15% once the deal is implemented. The new tax regime is to add some $150 billion to government coffers globally. The formal agreement follows an endorsement by the G7 groups of wealthy nations last month at a meeting in Britain. The negotiations will now move to a meeting of the G20 group of developed and emerging economies on July the 9th and 10th in Venice, Italy. President of the United States, Joe Biden, hailed the agreement as an important step in moving the global economy forward to be more equitable for workers and middle-class families in the United States and around the world. Joining me live from Paris to discuss this decision reached is the Director, Center for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. Thank you so much for joining me, and he is Pascal Saint-Amans. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the invitation.
So 130 countries are on board, and those 130 countries cover about 90% of the global economy. Talk to us about why this matters and the implication of this.
I think it matters because international tax rules, the way multinational companies are taxed, these rules were developed 1 century ago. They were developed by the League of Nations, where you had only developed countries around the table, and they have become irrelevant. They have become irrelevant because of globalization and because of digitalization. The global financial crisis 10 years ago was a wake-up call for governments to realize that the profits of companies were in tax havens, and it's been 10 years we've been working on fixing this. And we've been working on that not only as the OECD, which is a rich man's club, but with all interested countries, including Nigeria and many others, which have helped shape the agreement. And this agreement is about putting an end to tax havens, making sure that companies will pay at least 15% on their profits made offshore, made abroad, and a fairer reallocation of taxing right, in particular on digital companies, so that market jurisdictions, including Nigeria, would get a percentage of the rent of these companies. And the fact that we have 90% of the world economy in the deal shows that it's been inclusive. Developing countries got a lot through the negotiation, even though they didn't get all what they wanted. We have African countries in, we have European countries in the G20, but also Asian countries like China. And that's a great success to have that many countries agreeing on this.
But you do not have about 9 countries have opted out. These countries are seen as low tax countries and tax havens for these companies. Companies like Ireland, Estonia, and Hungary haven't come aboard. Can you move forward without these countries, and what are you doing to bring them on board?
Yes, we will bring them on board, and if we don't, it will be too bad for these countries. The beauty of this agreement is that we're not obliged to have the low tax jurisdictions agreeing, because the mechanism is such as the countries which tax, like the US or European countries or African countries, will be able to get the money, whether Ireland is part of the deal or not. And Ireland sent very positive messages. They could not agree the deal with at least 15% for the global minimum tax yet, because they have a rate of 12.5, which is iconic. In Ireland, even taxi drivers know about the rate of corporate income tax. It's quite unique in the world. But they said they remain engaged and committed, and we're confident that Eastern European countries, Estonia and Hungary, will do the same. We're a bit saddened that Nigeria has reserved, unlike the other African countries, but here again, we're confident that Nigeria will join. Nigeria was very active in the negotiation and managed to get a lot of concessions from developed countries to developing countries, and we hope that Nigeria will join as well.
This plays out, because there are also those who have criticized it, but we'll see how it plays out. Thank you so much for helping us understand this better. Pascal Saint-Amans, Director of Center for Economic Cooperation and Development.
Thank you.